Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Hope you're doing great because we are here to talk about how to create an item in your Zabbix. And for this example, I am running the Zabbix 8.0 LTS version. It's still right now in alpha state, but very soon it's going to be fully LTS, meaning that this video is going to be applicable for many years. So if you stumbled on a problem and thinking like how to create an item, so what we're definitely going to need is the Zabbix frontend itself. So items are applicable either to the hosts or to the templates. And what item basically is, that is an entity that is responsible to collect the specific data from your host, from your endpoint that you're monitoring, right? And meaning that you could have an item for like CPU utilization monitoring, item for database status, whether it's running or not, item for host status, whether the host or Linux server is running or not, and so on. And first of all, for us to understand where it is better to create an item, either directly on a host, as example here, I have a Linux Home Lab Alma 9, I can go to the items, click create an item and go through everything, or in a template, and then I would need to go to data collection templates. I can open any template that I have, like items. I have 7 here, create new, and I create it here. And the difference is actually very big, and your decision should be based on the idea of what you're actually planning to do. Because if you're creating an item to monitor something that is going to be shared across all sort of different endpoints in your office, company, data center, or whatever, meaning that this one single item that you plan to create is going to be needed to apply on 100 hosts or 1,000 hosts, then creating it directly on the host is definitely not a good idea. Because creating it here, it's going to work, it's going to function, it's going to collect all of the data, everything as usual, but it's going to be applicable only for this single host. Meaning, if you will have 10 hosts, then you will need to create 10 identical items on a host directly. And another big problem is that if the time goes and you find out that, okay, actually something has changed and now I need to update this item. I need to change some of its configuration, maybe the item key or something. If you have the items directly on your hosts, you again going to be required to do these changes for 10 times for every single host with the item that you have. Not good. So if you plan to apply this item to multiple hosts, and overall, that is always the best practice, is to create items directly in a template. And let me just delete all junk here. So I have my template, custom JSON template, create an item here. And when we will create it, you can just apply the template to all of the hosts where you want this item to work and collect the data. And if something is going to change and you will need to change the configuration of this item, you come to the template, make a single change here on a templated item, and the changes will propagate on all of the hosts where this template is linked. Okay, so to move forward, like how to actually create an item. Well, you click the big blue button, create an item. You have 3 tabs, and the first one is obviously the most important one. Name is what this item is, right? It's just a string, whatever, just call it somehow. Then you need to choose the type. And this is the place where the things might start to get confusing because there's quite a lot of different types and each type represents something else. I would suggest to first of all understand like what exactly are we monitoring? Is that a Windows host or a Linux host? Then most likely we're talking about the Zabbix agent. But then the Zabbix agent needs to be installed on the systems. Are we monitoring some network device, Cisco, Meraki, whatever else, something that has SNMP, and SNMP is something that's not directly tied to the Zabbix itself. It's just the simple network management protocol, right? So then choose SNMP. If you want to monitor Java monitoring, choose JMX. And I would overall suggest to click here on this question mark, which is going to get you to documentation. And here you need to find a section configuration, item types, make sure that you own the right version that you are running, and just go read through most of these item types just to defined explanation of what each of them does, and each of them has some specifics on how they need to be configured. So in this single video, I'm not going to explain to you all of the types. I'm going to focus on the one which is most common, and the most common is definitely the Zabbix agent. So if we create a example item, choose type Zabbix agent, the key is the most important thing, which actually determines what exactly we are going to be monitoring on a host, whether it's going to be CPU load, some status, uptime, host name, memory, disk space, whatever. And obviously, like if you just started to work out with a Zabbix, you don't know what to put here. Like you cannot write some gibberish information and it's just gonna not work and be not supported. You cannot leave it empty. So I suggest just to click select, and this will list all of the supported keys that agent by default knows. And you can always extend these and create your own custom keys on agents. But that again, a story for a different video. But let's take as example system CPU utilization. For CPU utilization percentage, returns float. So we know what is the type of information, what kind of we expect. And this key, agent already knows this. And when agent receives a request like, hey, give me system CPU utilization, agent knows what it needs to run and what data it needs to return. What we need to understand is like, what the hell is like CPU type, mode, logical or physical? And for that, again, we are gonna need documentation. So go back to documentation, Zabbix agent, search system CPU utilization, and here is explanation of all the parameters that are available for this key, like CPU, provide a number, or by default is going to be all CPU cores. Type, possible values, user, idle, nice, system, IO8, interrupt, and so on. Mode, average, or average 5 minutes, or average 15 minutes. Logical or physical, possible values, logical is a default or physical. And what's the best here is, since as it was written in documentation, there are a lot of like default values, meaning that if you see in the item key parameters, these brackets around the key parameter, it means that you can delete them like this. And you can even delete brackets as well if there are no additional parameters. And this is a fully functional key. This is going to work. So type of information, that's already set based on our selection. Units, we don't actually need it. Like if you're monitoring something that has a name like kilograms or something like that, you can provide a units like kg. Update interval, how often do you want to request this data? 1 minute is a default. That's a good value. You don't want to go too extreme and collect all of your items every second, but of course think on like what's actually required for you. Custom intervals, if you don't want to focus on an update interval to collect the data every 1 minute as example, but run on some specific schedule, maybe to work only in the working time, working days, you can configure that here. Timeout, for how long we are going to wait for our Zabbix server to get the value from the agent. Like default is 3 seconds, that's good. If your checks are slow, improve the speed of the checks or the latency of the network between the server and the agent. History, for how long you want to store it, and trends, for how long you want to store it. If you need to store something for a long time, use trends. History, raw data, very heavy, takes a lot of the disk space. Trend is 1 hour calculation of the history data, which includes the minimal, maximal, and average value in the selected time period. That's it, basically. That's it. Pre-processing is for the cases if you want to do something with the values that you're receiving, like transform them or maybe extract something from the JSON output or whatever that you are getting, but that's again story for a different video. So for a simple how to create an item, that was it. Hope this was helpful. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and see you guys later.